Hey YouTube, this is Team STD's
Save the Dragons!
We're here with a deck profile today for you about the Twilight. So, let's just get started with the deck list.
Stupid book and movie series.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie series.
Okay.
I advise that you don't watch it. Anyways, we're going to start off with 2 Luminas. Great card of the deck. Just gotta say right now, staple. Then, we're going to move on to 2 Jains. Good card. Run over most normal summonable monsters.
Quick question. Man or woman? Man or woman?
It's just so... who knows? Put it in the comments. And then we come to Ehren. Good card. Good card. Then we're on Wulf. I only run this card at 1 because 2 seemed a little too cloggy in those situations where you gotta work your way out best you can, and opening up with 2 just, it hurts. It really does. Next up we have 1 Celestia. Just nice for numbers, and hey, if you summon her, just get 2 cards out of the way and mill 4. Then we have 1 Garoth, also for numbers, and he's got a pretty decent effect. You mill 2, and then you draw 1 for each Lightsworn that was milled. We have 1 Ryko. It's a cool card, but right now I really only like this card at 1, especially with some of the other cards in this deck that I run. Same with Lyla. It's a good card, I just really don't like it at more than 1 because it seems to be something that gets me killed. And finally, for the Lightsworn half of this format, well, deck list, we have 2 JDs. It's a good card. Moving on to the other portion of the deck, we have... Nah, yeah, you wish, spells. We have 3 Magical Merchants. It's a really interesting tech that I put in. I'm still testing it out, but from what I've seen, this is actually a really decent card. You mill monsters so that you're getting them to the grave, and you get spells and traps.
Unlike all the other stuff that just mills randomly, and you can possibly get rid of your spells and traps.
I tried Card Trooper, but he tends to be a little difficult at times because his attack goes down, you lose him. And sometimes the draw isn't always good. Sometimes I've drawn into Wolves. That's another reason Wulf is at 1. Anyways.
Basically a little bit better than Card Trooper.
Yeah, it's just a guaranteed spell or trap, mill your monsters. Moving on. 2 effect failures, I've thought about bumping them up to 3 and taking out a Merchant, just because there's so many big monsters out there right now, the 1-turn activations when they're summoned, stuff like that. It's a good card. It's a staple in every deck right now. Next we're running 1 Honest, just a really good card. You're running a lot of lights. I mean, it's more lights than darks, so why not? Then we're running BLS, one of the biggest reasons this deck is so popular. Then we have the dark portion of the deck. 2 Necro Gardnas. I feel like that's pretty good. It's just nice at stopping attacks and keeping your lower monsters safe from bigger monsters, or even your Luminas and stuff like that.
Plus you mill, so it automatically goes to the graveyard most of the time.
And if it's stuck in your hand, you ditch it for just certain effects like Monster Reincarnation. Next we have 2 Trags. It's just a really good hand trap. You aren't running a lot of anything, and so you just always have a lot of hand presence before you go in for an OTK, and he's just nice to stall out until then.
And it's another dark target.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we have Gorz. It's just a great card in most decks, staple in most of them. It's, you aren't running any spells and traps that you're going to set usually, other than some others that I'll get onto in a minute. And so it's just really nice to just drop down. Next we have Gale. That's a tech. I really like it because it halves the attack, and if you open up with Zephy, you can special summon him. Also, Zephy's another one of the techs I like because he's just one of those free summon monsters. Yeah, you take 400, but it's really not that much in comparison to... It helps you get an extra Lumina effect out. Yeah, it's Lumina, isn't it? And then, if you summon JD, you can return JD to the hand and get him, and then just resummon JD after you nuked. So it gets that bonus damage in that you might need to go for game. Plus, it gives you access to easy 1-turn Armor Masters, which is nice in this deck. Next, we have our pretty much 1 tuner, other than effect failures, Plaguespreader. I don't use him all that often because, well, yeah, you've got Gale. But I don't use him that often because it's just some cards in your hand you need, so you don't want to return them. But usually he's a good card for those tight situations where you're going to need to go Brio. And then next card, and the last card, monster of the deck, is 3 Chaos Sorcerers. A lot of people run 2. I think that 3 is a good number with how much mill you have going on in this deck, and it's got a decent distribution of darks and lights, so why not?
And hey, if it ends up in the graveyard, just another dark target.
Yep. And then now we're moving on to Spell and Traps. Coming on with 3 solar recharges. That's the staple number of the deck. It's really good at this number. You get rid of Lightsworn, you mill 2. Well, you draw first, then you mill 2. It's a good card. Setting up the graveyard and just drawing cards and opening up and getting cards out, thinning your deck. Then we have 2 monster reincarnations. You tend to mill a lot of your boss monsters in this deck, so it's really nice to get back your BLS or even Chaos Sorcerer or sometimes JD. Then we have Charge. It's a staple of the deck. Mills 3 cards and searches out any level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster. Great card, and it's saved me countless times against a lot of defensive decks. Or if you have some form of defense monster. I don't know. Then we have Dark Hole. That's a staple. It's great for taking out big fields. Monster Reborn, staple. Just reborn some of your monsters or some of your opponent's monsters. Heavy, take out that pesky back row. And Traps. 2 Beckoning Lights. This is a really great card for ditching dark monsters that you don't want anymore to the graveyard. It's like if you open up with Necro Gardna and you tend to mill, you'll hit down and you'll just ditch him and get some Lightsworns back, or sometimes Honest, or even reusing Veilers. So that's it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. We have 1 Colossal Fighter. He's just kind of nice because he can't be destroyed by battle. We have Stardust. A lot of people have him but don't use him. He's just nice to have there. Armor Master because of Gale. Scrap Archfiend because he's a nice level 7. Runs over most of the boss monsters out right now.
Trade it to me.
We have Black Rose, just that nice optional nuke if you want to summon a Chaos Sorcerer and macro something you don't want them to have anymore, and then summon an Effect Veiler and sync up, blow up the field. Tactical nuke. Then we have Gaia Knight, just a nice level 6 if you've already used your Brio. Brio, nice to bounce a lot of difficult cards, or even a Zenmaines if it's on the field.
I think that would classify as difficult card.
It's a difficult card. We have Magical Librarian. Yeah, wow.
Magical Android.
I traded my TG Hyper Librarian away, a little sad, that's why. Anyways, Magical Android. We have this card just in case Catastor is gone, and hey, it's nice to gain life points when you're in a tough situation. After that we have Chimeratech, just a nice tech in case they leave a Cyber Dragon out, punish those people. 2 Utopias, just an overall good card. We have Leviathan Dragon, just a nice card if you need to run over some stuff. And then finally we have a Zenmaines. It's just a really nice card for when you're not really looking so great and you need to stall. And then, my favorite card of this whole deck, the Token.
Alright, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever.
It's great. Alright.
You can troll this guy. Troll this video.
Troll me like crazy, yeah.
Alright.